Have you ever heard in the history of hip-hop a man that gives away his creativity and helps make Billboard hits but doesn't get paid $1 for it, one credit for it, and he's stuck in the hood? You know what I'm saying? That doesn't make sense, but exposing these niggas will make sense.
Fugitive TV, we are back, and today we are going to break down the many beefs of Drake. Drake has been through a lot of beefs, right? And I don't know if y'all know, but his house just got shot up and people are wondering if it's between him and the Kendrick Lamar. Could have been him and The Weeknd. Could have been an inside job. Did he find out the mole that was in the camp? I mean, there's a lot of things going on. But, you know, I spent a little time in Toronto when I went on a run. Because remember, I went on the run for 15 years and Toronto was one of the places I was at. So from 2000, the mid 2000s and on, I was there for a while, 3 years pretty much. I was there right when Drake popped off. I was there like right before he got big. So there was some stuff that happened there that there's some things that maybe you guys, us here in the States, you know, don't know about because it's up there in Canada. So I'm going to break down the beefs from the beginning, from the start. So y'all know what the hell is going on and maybe why a lot of people don't like this man. So let's start this off. We're going to get into one of the very first well-known beefs that happened. Y'all remember this song?
Paige, I hope you don't mind me just having a little fun, you know.
It was I'm So Fly by Drake. A lot of y'all remember this, but a lot of y'all don't know that that was not his song. The song originally was Big Page featuring Drake, I'm So Fly. Big Page was a big rapper in Toronto. He ran a lot of things in Toronto. He ran the streets. Now, let's not forget, Drake did not come from the streets in Toronto. No, Drake was an actor on Degrassi. He grew up in a nice area, the Forest something area in Toronto, actually. He never really came from that culture. You're going to see this a lot in these stories that sometimes will backfire in his face. He did a track with Big Page, and they did So Fly. This is what happened.
But for those that don't know, who's Big Page?
Big Page, a lot of things, but right now, you know, a rapper out of Toronto, Canada, entertainer, hustler, entrepreneur. Things started happening where, you know, niggas started burning me and just doing things that they weren't supposed to be doing, you know, as far as like down talking me and shit talking me to, you know, other people or whatever. So basically, it was a situation where, you know, it wasn't really nothing said directly between me and him. But then, matter of fact, what happened was I was in Miami, and I think he was having like a party. So I'm at the party with my people. We pull up in like Maybachs and shit like that, and him and his people pull up in like Range Rovers or something like that. So we kind of pull up together. But I'm just there, you know, I did the record with him. I'm in Miami. I'm showing love to my Toronto native, you see what I'm saying? So
But this is when shit was good.
This is when shit was alright, you see what I'm saying? Like, shit was kind of rocky, but there was nothing direct, you see what I'm saying? At the end of the day, I'm gonna try to keep the peace and just, you know what I mean? Build. So I'm there now. I'm in the VIP booth. The manager of the club and promoters put me and my people in the VIP upstairs. So I'm chilling in the VIP, whatever, and I'm feeling uncomfortable anyways because, you know, I'm around people I don't know, you see what I'm saying? I'm from Toronto, and you know what I mean? The situation was weird. So all of a sudden, I see Drake comes. I'm sitting to the left. He's sitting to the right. His table's to the left. Mine's to the right. So all of a sudden, I see him like spazzing out. So when I see him spazzing out, I just fall back a little bit in the cut, and I kind of just take in what's going on. So he calls his manager CJ over, and basically he was like, his manager for me. His manager goes to security. Security called police. 2 police officers and like 3 security guards walked up to me. So I'm watching them walk up to me, and then I'm like, can I help you? Like, yeah, you have to leave this area. So I'm like, I have to leave this area? What the fuck I have to leave this area for? Like, you brought the bottles and came from the booth, what's going on? The owners walked us to this booth. They said, oh, this is not your booth, this is not your area. I said, all right, no problem. You see what I'm saying? Because, you know, I didn't want to be there anyway, so I'm like, you know what? We'll just grab our shit and just relocate somewhere else. I already knew it was a diss move. Like, I already knew he pulled the stunt, like, yo, get this nigga out of here. Why is he here? Because I'm over there in the VIP. Niggas got the cameras on me asking, you know, questions like, asking about Page or whatever. I'm not trying to say the nigga was anything, but I'm just saying that was the situation. So they told us to move. A couple of niggas I was with didn't want to move. So as we're talking back and forth to security, Wayne and Mac Main, a whole bunch of Cash Money walks in. And then they're just like, oh, this is our booth, So I'm like, all right, cool, no problem, you see what I'm saying? So from that time, I was like, hold on, if me and this dude never had a problem, why would he do that? And even, he's standing like 10 feet away from me, you see what I'm saying? Like, he should be like, yo, this is my dude from Toronto, yo, Pete, you you can't be here because this is Wayne's booth, but yo, just get a new booth. You know what I'm saying? He should at least say something. I felt like there was no problem. Like if we did a record together and we're, I don't know, whatever you want to call the situation, boys or whatever, you should at least be like, yo, it's my man from Toronto, yo, relocate him, da-da-da-da-da. But it wasn't like that. The dude actually, you know, sent the people like, yo, kick this nigga out. But I knew the promoters, I knew the owners, so they just, you know, comped us, they gave us extra bottles, put us in the booth downstairs, and then from them, I was just like, yo, fuck this nigga, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, pretty much what.
So Big Page puts out a song. That song I told you guys about, I'm So Fly. So he puts this song out, right? And before he officially released it to the radio, what Drake went and did was Drake took the song, took Big Page's lines off the song, and then Drake replaced his verses with his own.
Paige, I hope you don't mind me just having a little fun, you know.
See, the original song only had Drake singing the chorus. He was not rapping, he was just singing the chorus. But Drake went and took Big Page's verses off and replaced his verses with his own. And then brought it down, I think it was here to the States, and then released the track as it was his song.
I just want to say, man, if you can't show your face in this room, then you're doing something wrong. Real shit.
So he basically stole the track from Big Page. So Page was kind of mad at him, right? Like, you know, hey, you took my song. And that song was supposed to be the song to break Big Page into the mainstream out of just being a local rapper out of Toronto. But down here in America, the States, and it was supposed to be his starting, you know, the track that did it for him. We're going to read this article from the boombox.com of what Page said. Basically, what happened was, Page is actually saying that he is a snitch, a coward, and that's just it. And that's what he tells Boombox. Now, he also says that what happened was Drake had released a solo remix version of Page's I'm Still Fly single, which originally featured Drake on the refrain before Page released his official track to the radio. He hit me up and apologized for putting the song up. So Drake hit him up and said, hey, I'm sorry for putting the song up. Page explains, I knew he was burning me, but I said it was all good because the city is so small and people talked. People assumed I had problems with Drake, but at first he had no issues. I knew the song would be a hit. I didn't care. I knew Aubrey a long time. So that is what he says, you know, what happened, you know, his version, everything. Now, Drake really doesn't have a version. I mean, there's some stuff he says, but he really doesn't say much about this. Now, they knew each other on a personal level. They were friends supposedly for years. And I guess from there, Page supposedly moved on. Here is the part that is funny. In 2009, now a lot of people, if you follow the Kendrick Lamar and the Drakebeef, right? That Chinese restaurant in Toronto that Kendrick Lamar brought up, and then Drake later on put it in his video. He's sitting in that. So that Chinese restaurant, the reason why it was brought up is because that's the same Chinese restaurant that Drake was robbed at in 2009. So what happened was Drake went out on a date with a girl. Afterwards, when they left the restaurant, Drake got robbed. They snatched his chain and some other stuff. You know, that's why Drake says, yeah, I know they slipped me for my APs. Talking about his chain. They took his chain from him. And after that, Drake realized, hey, the girl set him up. Not only did that happen, Drake went and filed a police report. So that is where Big Page says Drake is the snitch, and that's where that came from. Drake filed a police report. Now, a lot of people are saying, even he says in the song, where's the proof? If my name was on some paperwork, where's the cabinets they filed it in? Well, I found some of these papers, and here it is. Now, you do see Aubrey Graham's name on this document, right? In order for his name to be on this document, they had to ask him questions. They're not just going to go arrest somebody. You know, so somebody had to call the police. Somebody had to ask questions. And somebody had to answer these questions, as in who was robbed, when, where, and what time. And what did they take? I mean, it took me a long time to find that, but I found it. It took a while. It was scrubbed off, and that's the only paper I found so far. So I know there's more than just that section that's attached. I just don't have the time to look for all that. And of course, that was from back in 2009. What happened was those two guys got charged. Now, I will say one thing. Drake, I guess, didn't go to court. He didn't go testify against him. And because he didn't go to court, those two individuals that robbed him never served the maximum sentence they were supposed to. So they got let out real early because Drake did not go to court. So, I mean, I will say that. He never went to court and testified against him. But there was some paperwork involving Drake's name, as you see right there on the screen that I put up, of what happened. There was some rumors, allegations that Paige set him up. It was a bunch of allegations that went on. Paige set him up, and, the beef started from there. Paige says at a party that it was one of Drake's bodyguards there, and I guess one of Drake's bodyguards took a swing at one of Paige's friends and knocked the drink over, a bottle over, spilled it on him, and that's when Paige was like, I had the last thing. Despite knowing each other for years, trouble between Paige and Drake began brewing after Drake was robbed in the summer 2009. He filed a police report, which is that same report, I'll show you again, leading Paige to oddly denounce the actor turned rapper as a snitch via Twitter. So back then when X was turned Twitter, Paige put up all that paperwork, but all that stuff has been erased since then. And to this day, I'm pretty sure y'all never heard of Paige or anything like that. So let's go to the next one, which starts with The Weeknd. Now, we all know The Weeknd, right? Has a song with Drake called Crew Love. A lot of people wonder why they never did a song again. They did that song and that was it. Now, a lot of people don't know. They did way more than that song. The Weeknd supposedly wrote a lot of different songs on Drake's very first album. The Weeknd penned and wrote a lot of those songs. Now, at that time, The Weeknd was not signed to OVO. I don't think The Weeknd really even had a record label at that time. Drake wanted to sign Weeknd to OVO, and The Weeknd was like, nah, I want to do my own thing. So The Weeknd went and signed with somebody else and then got with his manager, and they started their own label, their own imprint. I don't blame The Weeknd because if you look at OVO, what artist is popping under OVO besides Drake?
Drake on the roster, he's a big star. Party Next Door, he's like a replacement for The Weeknd when Weeknd didn't sign to him. And the Jordan dude, Michael Jordan, he wrote, what's the song? Hold On, We Going Home. Obi O'Brien, it's like Drake's cousin or something, that redhead guy. That was in Started From the Bottom video. Alan McCona had that one hit, Club Run Up on Tuesday. I never really liked him that much, but he had Catchy Ass Sucks. And Warren Woods, he's pretty dope, but don't really hear much from him. And DVSN, I had never heard of him before, but they missing that guy. They missing Moji. Moji's a Toronto rapper too. And he just spoiled Drake for not paying him nothing. Give him $500 just to sign with the group and helping Drake make a lot of hit records. And if you didn't know, Party Next Door helped Drake write the song Rihanna Work. And if you know, Drake only had one verse on that song, so Drake couldn't do one verse.
When The Weeknd did an interview with Complex, he revealed that the songs he gave to Drake were originally for his album House of Balloons, but The Weeknd made it sound like he didn't really want to or that it wasn't the right decision. He was also asked in reference to Drake, "People think you guys aren't cool with each other anymore," to which he responded, "No, that's not true, but it makes sense. The thing about Drake is I told him what my decisions were going to be, and he was down with it from the beginning." So
the song, go ahead, type in the description some songs and some artists that popped under OVO that is, been to fame. I know there's artists, but none of them have really done a splash. So it's all been about Drake, right? So you guys name me some artists if you could think of some. But I don't blame Weeknd. So I guess after that, Drake and The Weeknd kind of had Drake got a little mad because The Weeknd, signed and didn't sign with OVO, so Drake got into his feelings. And over that, Drake didn't pay The Weeknd or give him his what was reserved, deserved for writing these songs. So The Weeknd, of course, got mad. Like, what? You owe me this money, bro. Why ain't getting this money? Then not only that, I guess Drake, being petty, went and turned around and started dating The Weeknd's ex. Come on, bro. You're going to see this come up a lot about Drake and these girls. So Drake started dating The Weeknd's ex. And then from there, it was done. I guess The Weeknd went and got back with the same girl after Drake. I don't know. But that started that beef with The Weeknd. That's why you never heard them again after Crew Love. City, we're going to stay with Toronto. So I know y'all remember that song, Summer 16. Remember that song? Drake is singing that song, right? That song was hot. And you remember the one bars he said,
switch it up with the left, Let you know, bro, nigga like water. You can't hold me.
It was like Mo G. You remember him saying that? Projects in Toronto. Mo G was popping. I mean, he was a kid, literally. He was a teenager. He was popping, but Mo G was from the streets. Remember, Drake's not. So Drake has a history of pretty much sending people out to the streets and, you know, hey, you help me out, watch my back, and I'll help you out and, you know, do some songs together, or I'll mention your name of some songs. So you realize Drake mentions a lot of names that were like, who is this guy? He mentions a lot of names. He does that for a reason. So Mo G was one of them. Mo G had the song that was popping. Mo G was known for doing a certain dance move. Now the dance move Drake took and started doing a dance.
Switch it up with the left. Let you know, bro, nigga like water. You can't hold me.
2022, Mo G puts out a video and puts Drake on blast.
Have you ever heard in the history of hip-hop a man that gives away his creativity and helps make Billboard hits but doesn't get paid $1 for it, one credit for it, and here's stuck in the hood? You know what I'm saying? That doesn't make sense, but exposing these niggas will make sense.
G was saying, you know, Drake stole a lot of stuff from him. His swag, he was being a culture vulture, the same stuff that Kendrick is actually saying. Mo G is saying that 2 or 3 years ago, whatever. He was also saying that supposedly Summer 16, Mo G helped into that. That is one of the reasons why Summer 16 never made it to Drake's album. If you go look, Summer 16 is not on Drake's album. So if you guys ever heard of Mo G, let me know. Put a comment down below. I mean, he was nice. He was all right. He was nice for the kid. He was nice. But that was that beef. Now, supposedly, I don't know if they're good. Mo G, you ain't heard of him in a while. You ain't heard of him in a minute. Now, let's get into XXX Attention. Rest in peace. I'll be honest with you, I really didn't listen to him that much. I heard a couple of his freestyles, and the kid had talent. He had talent. But we're going to get into what these allegations of conspiracy theories is, just briefly, real quick. So, XXX Attention put out a few tweets, basically, you know, saying that Drake stole his flow. Drake is pretty much, once again, a culture vulture and stealing other people's swag and taking what they, you know, what they have. You know? And then XXX posted, if you find me dead or if I die or someone kills me, it's Drake. How ironic, right? How ironic. And then what happens is, we all know the story, and if you don't, you know, you can Google it. But XXX was trying to buy a motorcycle. He had cash on him, walked outside, got into his car, and then he got ambushed. And in the middle of the ambush, they shot and killed him. And that's what happened with him. So a lot of people, you know, who know this story, especially who are fans of Triple X, believe that, you know, allegedly that Drake was involved. Was he? Who knows? I don't know. But hey, that's one beef that went down. So there's a couple more like little small beefs he had, especially in Toronto before he got big. One was with this cat named Aristo. I think it was Aristo. Aristo was a rapper. Aristo actually has a track that was produced by Kanye West. Aristo, you never hear from this guy again. Who knows what happened to him? But if you just Google the song Drake, Good Riddance. It's a diss towards Aristo. And Drake was actually not that bad. This is before the you know, the big fame. So his rapping was a little different, you know, and everything. He had a little beef with another guy. I think it was Voice, whatever the hell it is. I forgot his name. Voice, I think so. Hold on, I have it right here. It's Voice, Voice. Drake had beef with him. And actually, if you look up Drake exposed Voice diss, you find that record too. And I mean, that record wasn't that bad. And I think that was one of the first records you hear Drake start trying to sing on. I was towards the end of it, I think. So, I mean, he's had a lot of little beefs, so he's been battle tested. But the funny thing is, what are these beefs over? The last two I just mentioned, nobody really knows what happened and what they're over. And nobody even knows what happened to these other artists. They just vanished and disappeared. Here's something. So y'all know how Kendrick Lamar brought up the 11-year-old girl, the 11-year-old daughter. So check this out. And then Drake was saying, ooh, I set the trap. I gave false information. I don't know if I believe that, because after doing some digging on the internet, this is what I found. So I found this article on allhiphop.com. Now, this article is from back in, I believe it was 2015. And I'm going to put it up for you guys. But this is what the article says. So the article says this. A new report has surfaced that for the third time, the Best I Ever Had singer fathered a child. For the third time. This one just so happens to be a 2-year-old girl from Miami, an unnamed Haitian American woman who worked as a bottle waitress at Live nightclub in Miami. She filed legal documents. The woman alleges that she has told Drake that he's the father of this 2-year-old baby girl, and the outlet reports that the rapper has agreed to take a paternity test. What happened to the woman and what happened to the girl? Did he take this paternity test? Did it come out that he was not the father? If I can find this information doing some research, Kendrick Lamar got all kind of power to do way more research than I did. So I don't know if I believe that we fed him this false information stuff. Because if he did, I just didn't make it. The math wasn't mathing. So I'm pretty sure this is where that came from. This article right here on allhiphop.com. So I'm pretty sure that's where it came from. Now, I know it's not beef, but if you ain't paying child support, it could be beef. How many of y'all in here that got beef with their baby mama? Go ahead, right below. I'm pretty sure. And y'all know it can be beef, right? So, from there, we got beef with Kendrick Lamar. We got beef with Metro Boomin. We got beef with Future. We got beef with Rihanna. We got beef with Chris Brown. We got beef with A$AP Rocky. We got beef with almost the whole damn world of hip hop. How is this? We gonna get into part 2. So you subscribe to the channel, and we gonna get into part 2. So y'all stay tuned to part 2. It's about to hit y'all real quick, all right? Fugitive TV, we out.